Hello and welcome to another edition of Islamic Finance Weekly, where we bring you updates on the key developments in the non-interest financial market space. We begin with the key activities that occurred during the week. The president of the Islamic Development Bank Group, Dr. Banda Aja, hosted a virtual meeting with the heads of multilateral development banks, Africa Development Bank (AFDB), and the International Monetary Fund (IMF) for their first regular meeting in 2020. As the incumbent chairman of the heads of MDBs for 2020, Dr. Banda Aja expressed his gratitude to all MDB heads for having responded favorably to his invitation and for the very insightful reflections that took place in a brotherly atmosphere. Dr. Banda Aja also emphasized the importance of having open dialogue and the result-oriented shared vision, particularly at times when member countries expect leaders to provide the most impactful response to health, economic, and financial challenges caused by COVID-19. The leaders on the call commended the momentum of solidarity created by the international community towards elimination of COVID-19 and stressed that in spite of the challenges posed by the pandemic, the focus should not shift away from realizing the 2030 agenda. Looking at our virtual interview for this week, it explored the impact of COVID-19 on global and local sukuk with Dr. Mohammed Dabiri, a business and finance lecturer at the Crescent University, Abeokuta, Ogun State, giving insight into the subject matter. He shared his perspective on how COVID-19 will impact the global and local sukuk market. Take a listen.
The impact of COVID-19 on the global and local sukuk. The projection by Moody, the rating agency, is that the COVID-19 is probably going to have a negative effect on both sukuk on the local and the global front. They are of the opinion that even though COVID-19 is here, it will not actually deter sukuk from meeting its projected figures, which is 180 billion. However, they believe that the projection says that if the COVID-19 is prolonged, it might actually deter the issues from coming to the market. On the local front, we have the opinion that there will be a delay, which has already been mentioned by Moody. There will be a delay of new issues coming to the market. As we can see with regards to the federal government sovereign sukuk that is supposed to have come to the market in March is yet to arrive. Secondly, we might also see a form of delay in payments or default in payments to investors due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
The scholar also highlighted how the COVID-19 pandemic will affect the economic outlook for the Islamic finance market in 2020.
The effect of COVID-19 on the economic outlook and growth of Islamic finance. Islamic finance, being part and parcel of the global economy, will be affected by whatever will be affected by COVID-19 as well. The IMF World Economic Outlook growth projection is that the pandemic is going to affect severely the growth in all regions. The world output projected by the World Bank between 2020 and 2021 is 8%. United States, the United Kingdom, China, and South Africa are very close to this figure. The growth projected for those countries are actually between 8 and 10%. However, Nigeria has a lot of mileage to cover in regards to the economic outlook. The projection for Nigeria is 5%, which means that we still have a long way to go. As a result of that, Nigeria needs to work on its economy, works on its GDP, works on its reserve, in order to improve the outlook against 2022.
Considering the uncertainty in the global economy caused by the coronavirus disease, Dr. Dabiri made recommendations on how Islamic finance assets can support investors.
In terms of Islamic finance to support investors' fund at this time, the global economy is actually undergoing a very strong challenge right now. But having said that, in terms of safety and reduced risk, one of the sukuk that I would suggest, which is the only one we actually currently have in Nigeria that is a bit popular, is the sovereign sukuk, which was oversubscribed in the last 2 outings the federal government had. And why would I suggest that? Because it's definitely asset-backed, It's either used for roads by the federal government or like we have in Osun State for schools. So there is an asset that is backing that particular investment. So as a result of that, I will suggest that we should still invest in sovereign sukuk. More so, apart from the fact that it's asset-backed, your returns is also guaranteed to a very large extent as compared to other form of investment. In the future, when we have a robust and sukuk market, we might be able to actually look into investing in Islamic rates as well, which has to do with real estate investments, treasury, real estate investments as well. And that is actually backed by properties. It's like, instead of actually you investing in a single property, you have a fund where people who can't afford to invest in the whole property can actually have a share of several other properties. Finally, as well, I would suggest the retail sukuk, which are corporate sukuks, and they are yet to be rolled out in Nigeria in the future.
He outlined the key policy steps that are needed from the fiscal and monetary authorities.
The most important policy as regards actions needed from fiscal and monetary authorities in 2020 now, first looking at the fiscal policy, I'm of the opinion that with the current situation we have on ground, we need to find a way to actually sustain the businesses. And what we've noticed in other countries is that government actually gives grants to the businesses to sustain them, loans and salary payments for the taxpayers. In terms of monetary policy, I'm of the opinion that the government should introduce 0% interest for about 2 years. And although they might say this is difficult to do, but this is something that will help us stimulate the economy and make sure that businesses don't collapse as a whole.
And lastly, the finance expert analyzed the implications for the social, economic, and political stability across the globe and Nigeria.
In terms of social impact, economic, and political stability, COVID-19 has actually changed the way things have done. In terms of social impact, it has affected all groups of people, either rich, poor, old, disabled, young, indigenous ones. And it's actually brought families together. Friends are now asking after each other. People that have not contacted you for so many years actually contact you, which is positive as a result of this. So it makes us actually appreciate ourselves the more. And I think that's positive as a result of the COVID-19 outbreak. When it comes to the economic impact, definitely most of the major cities are shut down. And most economy of countries will depend on these cities. For example, Lagos, Abuja, and Ogun State are actually locked down. Most of the industries are based in Ogun State. And Lagos State as well is the engine of Nigeria, it's the commercial city of Nigeria. Obviously, we're going to witness a lot of job loss as well. A lot of companies are going to shut down because they won't be able to recover. Because business is going to change. The way business is done is going to change. meaning that things are not going to be done the way it's still being done. So business needs to re-strategize in order to meet the new challenges out there. There'll also be reduction in salaries, which would have its own effect on consumer spending as well. And the drop in the oil price as well is another issue. So we need to look for, as a country, we need to look at other means to generate revenue right now, because we're a mono economy, and we need to diversify into other areas, mainly agriculture in this case. Political impacts as a result of this COVID-19. We can see leaders, global leaders now making decisions on their feet. For example, Lagos State has showed a lot of leadership in that respect. And the federal government too. They've been able to make sure that they make decisions, and they actually move those decisions from decision making into actions, which is fantastic. So far, they've been doing their best in that respect. There's been transparency as well. They're coming forward to say, this is what we've collected, this is what we are going to spend it on, and they've been assuring the masses as well that it's definitely going in those directions, and they're going to be accountable. This is new in our country. Potential for power abuse is also there. You know, our leaders probably will now start. They might be doing all sorts of things in terms of corruption. You know, we've been hearing news about a lot of food items going around, and they're not getting to the people who really need them. And for once, we can see countries competing to show that government cares among themselves. You know, the government caring for their own citizens. And finally, there was also competition among global power as well, for them to find a vaccine for this coronavirus outbreak.
This clearly emphasizes the need for the non-interest finance market to be mainstreamed in the Nigerian Economic Sustainability Plan to deepen inclusive growth post-COVID-19. And that will be all for today. For more updates on Islamic finance analysis reports and videos, follow us on our social media handles displaying on the screen. Thank you for listening. Stay safe, stay healthy, and bye for now.